Hey everybody, Rudy here from the Home Improvement channel with another video helping you fix things around the house. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace a hose spigot that goes on the side of your house for the water hose. I'm going to be putting in a frost-free spigot. You can use this method to replace a standard one or an existing frost-free one. I'll show you how to do both ways. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Okay, so I'm just going to heat this up and pull it right out of the joint. I have a helper on the outside pulling that out for me. If you don't have a joint like this that's convenient, just use a pipe cutter and cut the pipe. That's all there is to that. Alright. Yeah, I like to do as much of this soldering as I can, not under the house. If you're in a basement, you know, that might not be as bad, but in a crawl space, it's just a pain in the neck. So I'm going to flux everything up. The end of this thing is made to accept a copper pipe, 1/2 inch right there, but it's also got threads there for one of these guys. If you can use one of these, it'd be easier, because then the next time it breaks you can just unscrew it. But if I use this, then I'll have to thread it on inside the crawl space, and it's pretty tight quarters right there. So it's more of a pain in the neck for me to use this than it might be for your situation. So keep that in mind. But either way, before you solder that in there, you're going to want to take the valve out, because the heat from the torch is going to burn up the rubber O-ring down here at the end. So just take the nut off, and then you can pull it out. Then you can't damage anything. All right. Alright, there you go. Just let that cool off before you handle it. I wouldn't put the valve back in at this time, because we're going to have to solder the other end under the house, and that heat might still get up in there and destroy the rubber seal. So I would wait until you're done with the solder before you do that. One trick that I like to use is whether or not you had an existing frost-free faucet before, and you're just replacing it with another one, or you had a regular one that's going to be a short thing like this with a piece of long pipe stuck in it. Either way, wherever you cut it at is going to be the same length that it's going to fit back. And if you make this new one the same length exactly, it'll be a lot less fumbling and fooling around when you're going to fit it. So measure the old one and make the new one exactly the same length. So we got 13 and 3/16. So if I can make this new one exactly that, it should pop right in there. And by the way, if you didn't have a joint like this that you could have disconnected your faucet from in your basement or crawl space, you'll want to use a pipe cutter like that that'll cut the joint for you. There we go, right on the money. Just cut it right there. And of course yours is going to be different. I'm just showing this for a demonstration of how I got the lengths to be the same. And just spin this around until it gets looser, and then just keep tightening it as it goes around. This is a cheap pipe cutter, so I'm going to zip through this part because it's going to take a minute. And there we have it, exactly the same length. It should fit right in there. Because I unsoldered this from the joint, you'll have to heat up the other end of this joint to get this to go in the hole, more than likely. And you might want to have a helper on the outside helping push that in while you're heating that up. It'll go a lot easier. If you don't have a helper, then just grab this with a pair of pliers and, you know, kind of work it in there under there yourself. One other thing you should do is take a piece of sandpaper and clean up the end of that. Everything will stick a lot better. I like to do as much as I can outside of the crawl space, just because it's just so much easier right here. Alright, as you can see, my length worked out just perfect. I got everything fluxed and ready to solder. And there we have it. And now I just got to put the valve back in, and then I'll have to come back under here to turn the water on. One thing that I wanted to mention, if you have trouble getting the water out of the pipe, if you have a shutoff valve that looks like this, it's got this little thing here at the bottom. You can undo that and the water will drain out of the pipe, and you'll have a lot easier time soldering the pipe without water in it. Don't have to over tighten that nut, just good and snug. Cool. I'm just going to go turn the water back on and check for leaks underneath, and then I'm going to come back out here and give it a test. All right, we're just going to give this a little quick test. I have my helper here. Go ahead. Looks like it works. It takes a second to drain out because it's got that that long thing in the crawl space there to drain. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, click on that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I come out with videos like this as often as I can. Thanks for watching.